Hey y'all, hi. So, my wardrobe is overdue for a massive, vicious, shocking, transformative, paradigm-shifting, life-changing declutter. I can feel it in my bones. I can see it all around. Honestly, I feel like we've all been able to see it coming from miles away for a long time. However, I started trying to declutter before I thought it through. I filmed a pants declutter, like every single pant, and a dress declutter, every single dress. And we will post those videos on YouTube because I'm sure they're a good time in their own way. But the process of filming them really surprised me. The process of filming them was not a good time. I thought that I would be decisive, confident, and effortlessly execute a thorough purge that aligns perfectly with my new sense of style and the new reality of my life. I thought it would be easy to identify which garments will work for me going forward and which ones are relics. But instead, during those declutters, I felt angsty, unmoored, foggy-headed, self-conscious. I don't know if you could tell in the videos. I flip-flopped between feeling like I was keeping too much and feeling like I was keeping too little. And I kind of started to spiral and get anxious about it around the clock, which is unusual for me. I realized that I thought I knew what I wanted, or I thought that I would know what I wanted when I got into the weeds. But when I got into the weeds, it turned out that my vision wasn't clear enough. Charging into the declutter and barreling through on instinct wasn't going to work this time. I needed to step back, process some of my feelings, and make a plan. And that, my friends, is what I am going to be doing today in this video. And if you're new here, I welcome you. My name is Hannah. I'm a writer. I will link my book down below. And I also make these YouTube videos about aesthetics, which I absolutely love doing. I hope you will enjoy it. And let us now get into the meat of the video. Okay, video outline. We're going to have parts 1, 2, and 3. Part 1, why am I so sure that I'm so ready for such a big declutter? Part 2, why did I panic when I started trying to do it? And part 3, what is the solution? Like, what am I going to do? Starting with part 1, why am I ready for a big declutter? The declutter of a lifetime. Over the past few years, as a result of some experimentation and philosophizing about aesthetics and identity, my personal style has undergone a dramatic change. And I've documented that here on YouTube. I'll link the relevant videos, which I think will do a better job of communicating the nuances than I can do here in just one short section of this video. But a lot of you have already seen those videos, and so you know what happened. Basically, on a lark, I decided to try putting away all of my maximalist clothes and dressing like a minimalist for just 1 month, which I loved so much that I expanded to 2 months and then 3 months, and then I just never went back. I know it kind of feels like this just happened, but it's actually been years since I conducted the original experiment. It's been 2 years at least. Over 2 years now that I've been dressing like a minimalist, and I've never felt better in my clothes. I feel like I've finally come to the end of a lifelong struggle between aesthetic maximalism and aesthetic simplicity, and just allowed myself to let go of something that I thought that I needed from a certain kind of clothing. This might sound dramatic to some of you, but I feel like it's been a real watershed moment in like the story of my life, all the way down to the level of the spirit. I'm an artist. I'm super sensitive to the power of aesthetics, and I've always kind of lived sort of halfway in my belongings and my clothes, kind of lived through the beautiful things with which I surround myself and used them to think about and solve philosophical problems. I've always explored my identity and all of the things that are connected to that with the shape and color and form of clothing, which I mean, a lot of us are doing, right? Clothes are drag, and drag is art. So it's been big. This shift has been big, and I feel like I still owe you all a video fully unpacking my journey from aesthetic maximalism to aesthetic minimalism and how it intersects with personal identity, trappings of masculinity and femininity, aging, trends, confidence, etc. But I think it's been so big that I'm still working it out myself. Like I'm still over here thinking like, what happened? Like asking myself what happened and then working on the answer to that question. And once I have it better sorted out than I do now, then I will bring it to you. But in the meantime, I have to declutter my closet. So my personal style has changed. That's one of the reasons that I'm ready for a big declutter. And also the circumstances of my life have changed dramatically over the past couple of years. I was pregnant. I am now a parent living in a postpartum body. We also moved to this house for the foreseeable future. And that's the first time in my life that I've ever been able to say that. So a life which was impermanent and itinerant and relatively free-flowing has become significantly more stable and fuller and much fuller of responsibility and less flexible. And these changes have deepened my desire to simplify my wardrobe and confirmed the relative permanence of my new aesthetic identity. For example, I've learned that my minimal aesthetic style suits parenthood really well and allows me to look and feel put together without all that much actual effort. And in this new house, the amount of space that I have to work with for clothing storage and organization is a fixed element. I know how much there is, and I know how much there's gonna be because we're staying here for now. And in the coming years, I desperately want to have a wardrobe that fits elegantly into that amount of space, that doesn't overspill, and that isn't stuffed full of stuff that I am not actually using. So for all of those reasons, I'm ready to go all in. I feel desperate to cut ties with the physical remnants of my past, i.e. clothes that I don't wear anymore. But I started trying to declutter and I panicked. So part 2. Why did I panic? What are the factors? I think that there are 4, and they kind of overlap and feed each other, but I think that broadly there are 4 factors. I panicked because factor number 1, kind of all the stuff that I was just talking about, creates a weird juxtaposition with itself. So my strong desire for simplification juxtaposed with the very recent upheaval in my life and the very high level of upheaval. My point of view, my aesthetic point of view, and my compulsion to simplify and reduce are very strong and very aligned with the reality of my life. In fact, in theory, I feel like my aesthetic point of view is stronger than it's ever been. And in theory, I feel more confident than I've ever felt that I know what I want in my wardrobe and in my outfits in daily life. So I'm bursting with desire to act on that clarity. But at the same time, I feel like I don't trust myself to make any major life decisions right now because everything is cuckoo bananas. So much has changed in the past year. And honestly, there have been so many good things, but also a lot has been really hard in the past year. So I feel like I know what I think I know what I want, but I also kind of feel like my head is still spinning, or maybe the room is still spinning. And I should probably just sit myself down, take a second, and not make any major life decisions in that context. And for me, a declutter, a wardrobe declutter of the magnitude that I've been imagining would be a major life event, a major life decision. The second factor, body changes. I'm 1 year postpartum, I'm still breastfeeding, and I haven't started exercising again. So I haven't yet learned how things are going to settle. Like I don't even have a vague idea of what my size and shape are likely to be for, say, the next 10-ish years. I just don't know yet. A lot of my clothes are size versatile to account for weight fluctuations, and I have a whole video about how to build a size versatile wardrobe, so if you're interested in that, I'll put it in the cards. You can click through and watch that one. A lot of my clothes are that way, so this sort of body limbo isn't totally obstructive to a declutter, but there are many specific decisions about specific garments that this body limbo does prevent me from making with total confidence, and I underestimated that. I didn't realize until I got into it with the pants how often I would come up against this and how often it would keep me from knowing whether I wanted to keep something or not. Okay, factor number 3 in my panic, fluctuating tastes. And I think that this is like the most interesting one to me. Here's the thing. Even within the parameters of my new aesthetic identity as a minimalist-ish, even let's say squarely in my post-maximalist era, even here, my sense of taste is morphing and has swung around a lot recently. And I'm starting to kind of see it. I'm starting to kind of see the forest for the trees. Something about pregnancy and that first year postpartum made me really reject feminine styling like volume and ruffles. I've really leaned hard into the masculine side of my aesthetic. And I think it's something about balance. With this increase in voluptuousness that I experienced in my body came a paring down in the realm of styling. Things have been sleek over here. Things have been tailored, simpler than ever, sharper than ever. But now, 1 year postpartum, I'm suddenly kind of finding myself interested in wearing skirts again and maybe a little shoulder ruffle here or there. Still the minimalist version of that kind of thing, like still, again, within my post-maximalist era, but beyond the boundaries of what I was comfortable with when I was pregnant and during that first year after giving birth. So I feel a reluctance to be hasty in my decisions about what I keep and what I don't keep, because I'm observing myself in real time changing, like what I feel good in, I'm observing it changing in real time. I know that there's a lot that I don't know about even my own clothes, and you can't predict the future, you know? And that knowledge really clashes with my desire to be super vicious and to cut down my wardrobe by 3/4, never to be seen again. And that clash is definitely contributing to the panic. And lastly, the fourth factor, I'm hesitant to share this. Actually, I wasn't sure I should keep it in, but I do think that articulating it will help me let it go, and that's what I need to do. I realized that there's some anxiety about doing this project publicly. Don't get me wrong, I love my job, and I love creating content, and I love looking at these processes, the ups and downs, even the angsty bits, through the lens of someone who's making content about this stuff as I go through it. Like, it's all part of it. This is all part of it. Even these kind of bad feelings, it's all part of it, and that's okay. So it's not something we need to run from. And this isn't even exactly a complaint. It's just another thing that came up and that was stalling the process. So it definitely belongs on this list of factors that were contributing to my panic. As I was decluttering my pants and dresses, I realized that I was unduly worried that I would be criticized about the decisions that I was making. Criticized for getting rid of things that I once professed to love, which of course I did love. Criticized for getting rid of things that were expensive, for having too much or too little, for keeping too much or too little. I was really hearing those voices in my ear, and it was really adding stress. And of course, it's valid for me to anticipate that I'll be criticized about this because everyone on the internet is criticized for everything. So I am going to receive those comments, I know. The thing that's unusual about it that's weird was that I was even thinking about it as I was doing the declutter, because I have developed a very thick skin over the years. One has to do this work. So something about the now, like something about this moment or something about this project was causing me to feel really vulnerable and to anticipate criticism. I think maybe starting with the pants was tough because I didn't plan. Pants are kind of a challenging category for me psychologically in a lot of ways. So I just jumped right into the pants declutter on camera. And then I realized that I was in over my head and I started experiencing all of this negative self-talk. That's really what it is. But it came to me in the guise of anticipated online criticism. So I belatedly realized that I need, in order to do this, to actively set aside that narrative and just do what I would do if I were decluttering my wardrobe off camera, but just do it on camera. And it's just going to take a conscious effort to set that narrative aside. And if it comes across as imperfect to some of you in some way, I'm sure that it will. I'm not a perfect person and I'm not pretending to be. Do I have a lot of pants? Yes. Too many pants, I think. That's why I'm decluttering them and trying to be a more mindful consumer of pants and everything going forward. And it's been a long time since I felt these kinds of insecurities or felt like I had to say anything like this on camera. It's weird. It's something maybe to do with clothes, something to do with excess, or maybe I'm just feeling vulnerable because the past couple of years have been so intense and kind of busted me up. That's probably what it is. But whatever it is, doing it on camera was making it harder to do. It was one of the factors that was causing me to panic, and that's why I put it on the list. Okay, so we know why I'm so powerfully desperate for a declutter. We know why trying to do it caused me to panic. I think it's all valid, but I'm desperate to get my clothes pared down and organized and to see some changes. So what should I do? What should I do? Welcome, my friends, to part 3 of the video, the solution. The solution, I believe, after much thought, is twofold, as things often are on the YouTube channel Hannah Louise Poston. The solution is twofold. 1, the logistics of the declutter, the style of the declutter. The way I tried to do it before wasn't working, and here's what I think I need to do instead. I think I need to execute a temporary removal from my wardrobe of many things which I may never reincorporate. Like a temporary capsule wardrobe that might become permanent. But temporary is the key, right? Everything else, everything I remove, I will store in one place. And then somewhere down the line, when the moment is right, I'll go through and decide if I want to pull anything before donating and selling it all. And maybe I won't want to. But I think I need that interstitial time. I think I need that buffer. So what I'm going to do is to literally label some boxes. Clothes to sell in 2025 if I don't miss them, and clothes to donate in 2025 if I don't miss them. And I'm going to declutter into those boxes and put them in deep storage in the basement. But it goes further than that. I think it's like a mindset shift. Rather than thinking of it as a declutter, i.e. selecting what to get rid of, I need to think of it as a creative process. I'm selecting what to keep. I'm reapproaching the project. I'm going shopping in my wardrobe, and I'm choosing what I'm going to use to create basically a capsule wardrobe. Then the things that I don't select with the deep storage treatment, and 6 months or a year from now, I will definitely have the clarity to know much more confidently than I can know now whether or not there are any of them that I want to reclaim before I move them all out and move them on forever. The other thing that I realized about logistics is that my cold weather wardrobe and my warm weather wardrobe need to be separate. I don't have enough room in this house to have all of those things out all of the time. So I'm basically creating from the abundance that exists 2 capsule wardrobes, one spring summer and one fall winter. Because of the time of year that it is now, the fall winter one will go right into my closet. The spring summer one will go into storage, and I'll switch them out twice a year. I feel really ready for these 2 acts of creative curation, building a spring summer and a fall winter wardrobe. So that is the change in structure, and I have yet to figure out quite how I'm going to film it, but of course I will bring you along for the ride. The other thing, the other fold of the 2 folds, the other thing I realized is that I need some aesthetic direction and inspiration. I need to really define my point of view and clarify what I want for myself with these 2 seasonal wardrobes. I need to sit down with my Pinterest boards and do some pinning and some dreaming and some theme spotting, maybe some adjective selecting for myself, just like I myself said in my video about how to build your personal style. I need to gather inspiration in a concrete and mindful way. I need to make sure that the inspiration aligns with the reality of my life, and then shop towards that inspiration. Of course, in my case, I will be shopping my stash when I shop towards that inspiration. But the fogginess and insecurity that I've been feeling around the declutter as I tried to do it is a sure sign that I need to give myself some more direction. I need to take my own advice from that video, which I will also link, and use the tools at my disposal to clarify my vision. And of course, that is something that I can also do on camera, or that I can share on camera, but not in this video or it will be too long. So stay tuned for an upcoming video about renewing my style vision with aesthetic inspiration, and more videos after that about the building of my wardrobes, my spring summer wardrobe and my fall winter wardrobe. As for this video, that's it. That's why I panicked when I tried to declutter in a brute force linear way. And when I stepped back and I did some thinking about it and I did some writing about it, I realized I needed to take a kind of gentler, more circular, and more creative approach. I hope this has made sense. I hope that you enjoyed this video and that you will stick with me through the process to come. And I really hope that you are taking extra good care of yourself so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world. I'm nervous, hard launching the hair. I can't tell if it looks good or not.